Hi everyone, Dan Gruenberg with Family First Life Cascades. I'm going to be doing a training video here on my final expense in-home. There's been quite a few requests from folks to see what my in-home presentation is for a final expense appointment. I brought my lovely daughter Liv to help assist with that. Say hello.
Hey.
You guys may recognize Liv. She's TikTok famous. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to just pick the appointment up just like we just sat down at the kitchen table. I want to go over a few things briefly when you're entering the home first. It starts from the knock. Knock on the door, loud, let them know you're there for business. When they open the door, start walking into the home, ask them if you would like for you to take your shoes off. It's a sign of respect for them, okay? Once you're starting walking through the home, I start looking for things that I can identify with, pictures of sports, hunting things that I can just briefly speak to them while we're walking to the kitchen table. That's my only rapport building I do while I'm in home. Never sit in the living room, always direct them to a kitchen table. The thought process behind that is when family come over, friends come over, we typically sit or congregate in the living room. Okay, we want them to know that we're there for business. So we're going to get away from the distractions of televisions and kids and grandchildren, get out of that friend zone and get into the business zone as quick as we can. And the best way to do that is to get to the kitchen table. Okay, once we sit down, here's how my appointment goes. All right, Liv, thanks for having me over today. I really appreciate it. Now, you did fill out the form, and that's what brings us here together. Here's the form that you filled out. Do you remember that form?
Yeah, this looks like my handwriting.
Okay. What I like to start out with, Liv, is explain to me why you filled the form out.
Well, I thought the state was offering me free benefits, and I didn't want my family to be burdened when I pass away.
Okay. Tell me more about what you mean by burdened when you pass away.
Well, I had a sister that passed away a few months ago, and it was super hard to pay for the funeral.
Okay. Sorry about your sister. I know it's very tough when things like that happen. So explain why it was tough to pay for the funeral. Did you have to pass a hat around to figure out who was going to pay for what? Okay, so that makes it a little bit difficult, to deal with things when you're already sad you lost a loved one. Now, you mentioned that you thought this may be free.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you really believe that when you pass away, someone's going to give you something free?
I guess not.
Okay. But the important thing is you did fill it out for the right reasons. Okay. And I commend you for that. It's very selfless. A lot of people don't think the way you do. Okay. You filled it out because you don't want your family to be burdened, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to relieve that burden for your family. Okay. I'm going to help put a plan in place to where your family is not going to be burdened. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for sharing that with me. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do. We're a brokerage firm. We're called Family First Life. Being a broker, what that typically means for our clients is we're able to get them the most amount of coverage for the cheapest. Okay. And why we can do that is because we're affiliated with about 15 different A-rated carriers in the state of Washington. Here are a few of them. Let me know which one of those that you recognize.
I'm familiar with Mutual of Omaha and Americo.
Okay. So let's start with Mutual of Omaha. Let's say that you call Mutual of Omaha directly. What Mutual of Omaha is going to do is they're going to give you what's called a guaranteed issue product. Basically what that means, Liv, is everyone qualifies. Okay? And because everyone qualifies for it, it's more expensive. When you go through a broker like myself, that's what I'm also known as a licensed state field underwriter. When you go through someone like myself, what we do is we're going to ask you some qualifier questions. And based on what you tell me, we're going to work together and place you with the right carrier. The right carrier meaning we're going to put you in a product that makes the most sense for you. Does that sound fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So two goals when I meet with folks, Liv. One is to make sure they understand how state regulated benefits and how basic life insurance works. Okay, because everyone knows they need life insurance, but they just don't know where to look for it. Okay. And the harsh reality of life insurance is about 1 in 7 life insurance policies don't pay when people pass away because they've purchased the wrong type of life insurance. Okay, lots of different types out there. For example, there's term. What term does is it lasts a term, and then it expires. So every penny you paid into it is gone. Most term products go up in price every 5 years. So when you own a term policy, what typically happens is when you need it the most, you no longer have it because you've outlived it, or it's became so expensive you had to cancel it. Okay. There's accidental death. What accidental death does is pretty simple to understand. You have to pass away in an accident. If you don't pass away in an accident, it doesn't pay. About 1 in 750 of those across the country don't pay because people simply don't die in accidents. Okay, I can help folks with both term or accidental if it makes the most sense. But you live at your age, whole life is what makes the most sense. What whole life does is it lasts your whole life. Never expires, never goes up in price. Most of the state regulated programs that we have offer accidental death built right into it. So let's say you had a $10,000 policy in place with Americo. If you were to pass away from anything other than natural causes, it would double to $20,000 automatically. Okay. Second goal I have, Liv, is budget. I would never recommend anything to anyone that's going to take food off their table. Okay. Frankly, if I did that, I would suck at my job, right? I think I'm pretty good at it. A little bit more about myself. My wife and I, her name is Tiffany. We own this agency together. She's been doing this a lot longer than I have. She's better at this than I am. She's smarter than me, prettier than me, smells better than me. And she basically is my sugar mama, okay? She does very well. And how that benefits you, Liv, is I'm not under any pressure to sell you anything to make money because my wife does very well for both of us, okay? So if I can help you, I will, okay? A little bit more about what I do now is I specialize in final expense life insurance. I also do mortgage protection and retirement income planning. So if I ask you some questions about your retirement, that's why. I'm just trying to paint the full picture and see how we can help you. Does that make sense? Okay. So the way this process works, Liv, is we're going to talk about your health for about 5 minutes. We're going to talk about your finances for about 5 minutes. Okay. If something makes sense, we're going to submit a completed application today. Because with the state regulated programs, that's just how they work. We have to submit the application first so we can get you an approval first, let you know what you qualify for, or let you know what you're eligible for. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any questions for me before we get started? No. Okay. So again, what I said about a completed application, okay, is I'm going to be asking you for some personal information. To complete the application, I'm going to be asking you for your checkbook, your checking information, your driver's license, and your social security number.
I don't want to give you my social security number.
What was that?
I don't want to give you my social security number.
Okay, I understand your concerns. I am licensed through the state of Washington. Here is my license. I showed it to you already, but I'll show it to you again. This is my license number. And you did ask us to be out here. So in order to put these policies in force, unfortunately, Liv, they're tied to your social security number. So what happens when you pass away is they're going to search and see what's attached to your social security number. The benefit can't be put in place and won't be awarded to your sister if you don't provide your social security number. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So any concerns with that anymore? No. Okay. Now I'm checking information. You're going to be okay giving that to me? Okay. Because we know that this isn't free any longer. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So again, the way the process works, talk about health for 5 minutes, talk about your finances for 5 minutes. If something makes sense, we will be submitting a completed application today. Okay? And you understand what completed application means? Yes. Okay, great. So let's get started. Now, Liv, let's talk about where we live first. Okay? Keep in mind that I do have 3 objectives when I meet with you. Is I do want to keep this affordable, and I want you to be comfortable. Okay? And I want you to see if you qualify first. That's the whole objective of this meeting, is to make sure you qualify. Okay? Again, we're going to make sure it's affordable. I'm going to work together with you. We're going to work as a team to find something that fits the budget, to take the burden off of your sister. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. I want you to be comfortable. What that means is if you have any questions, please stop me and ask me, because I want you to know what's going on. Okay? So let's first start with where you live here. Do you rent or own?
I rent.
Okay, and how much is your rent payment?
Um, $12.85 a month.
$12.85. Okay. And let's start here. So Liv is your first name. What's your middle initial?
J.
J. And your last name?
Smith.
Smith. Okay. And what's your date of birth?
March 3rd, 1957.
Okay, March 3rd, 1957. And that makes you
63.
63. Okay. So Liv, are you retired?
Yes.
Okay. So you're retired. Are you on some sort of Social Security?
Yes. Disability.
Social Security disability? Okay. Well, that brings me to my next question. What's your monthly income?
About $3,600 a month.
3,600 a month. Good for you. That is a lot better than most people I meet with. So you're in a good spot. I'm happy for you. The average person I meet with is around $1,000 a month. Okay, so you're doing really well. So good for you. Let's talk about now your health. Are you a smoker?
Yes.
Okay. Not a big deal. Smoking doesn't disqualify you with our state regulated programs. Matter of fact, one of our preferred carriers, Americo, they'll offer you non-smoker rates if you're a smoker, with the incentive that you quit smoking in 4 years. Do you have a plan to quit smoking?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, like I said, they're going to give you non-smoker rates. So already I'm kind of trending towards Americo. And just so you know, Americo is the #1 largest independently owned life insurance company in North America. Okay, they don't typically advertise; they go by reputation and word of mouth. Okay, so that's more than likely where we're going to head with you based on your health now, because your health is like your credit score and financing. Your health qualifies you for life insurance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about health now. What daily medications are you prescribed?
I have 2 medications for blood pressure and 1 pill for cholesterol.
Okay. 1 cholesterol. Okay. Let's talk about serious medical conditions. Have you ever had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke?
I had a stroke 4 years ago.
A stroke 4 years ago. Was it a full-blown stroke?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not being treated for anything? No
No.
medications for it? Okay. And that was 4 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, good. What we're worried about with strokes is basically what's happened in the last 12 to 24 months. So you're way in the clear for that. Okay, great. So no heart attacks or cancer? Okay. How about diabetes? Okay. Lupus,
No.
asthma, or COPD? All right. Any anxiety or depression medications? Okay. Kidney or liver disease?
No.
How about any pain medication prescriptions? Okay. Any other prescriptions that you may have been prescribed but you just decided not to take? Okay. Because a lot of people will do that. Is they'll get a prescription and they'll think it makes them feel funny and they stop taking it. But you have nothing like that?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about surgeries. Have you had any recent surgeries?
Yeah, I had a knee replacement surgery 4 years ago.
Okay. 4 years ago, knee replacement.
Yes.
Okay. So Liv, let me ask you this. When you do pass away, who's picking up all the pieces?
My sister Katie.
Okay, Sister Katie. Okay. So basically what we're going to do for you today, Liv, is we're going to put a benefit in place so Katie will not have to pass that hat around and pay for you when you pass away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about finances. What's left over at the end of the month after you've paid all your bills?
About $700.
Oh, good for you. That's a lot better than most. Most people I meet with, they have around $300 left over on average, and we're able to help them. So I'm excited for you. We're going to be able to help. Just so you know, Liv, the average burial in the state of Washington, folks spend around $10,000 total. Okay. If they're going to be cremated, they spend around $5,000 total. Okay. What I'm going to do, Liv, is find out exactly what type of benefit you want and how much you need, and then fit that into your budget. Okay. Have you put much thought into when you pass away? Do you want to be buried or cremated?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So I think a good place to start would be about $10,000. Now, do you want to leave extra money for Katie or just enough to take care of your burial?
Some extra.
Okay, good. So a lot of people, there's 2 reasons why people get life insurance. One is to make sure their final expenses are taken care of. The second highest reason is what you're looking at, is you want to make sure that Katie doesn't have to be burdened with your final expenses. Plus you want to leave her a little bit something extra. Okay. So what I will tell you is we're going to focus on what's called simplified issue products. We're going to get you approved in home today, and the benefit will start today. Okay. The benefit upon approval, the first premium is going to come out as well. Okay, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to look at with Americo more than likely is we're going to look at we're going to start at around a $30,000 benefit and see if that fits the budget. Okay, and then we'll work ourselves down from there. Okay, because what you got to remember, Liv, is the need versus the want. Right now, I can hear you want to make sure your sister's taken care of, but if it comes to budget matters, what you need is just enough to make sure that everything's paid for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to work together as a team to get to that point. Let's talk a little bit more about your financial situation. Do you have anything that would act like life insurance when you pass away?
What do you mean?
Like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, 401ks, IRAs?
I have an IRA.
Okay. So you do have an IRA. Who manages that IRA? Do you know the firm? Is it Edward Jones, Raymond James?
Not sure.
Okay, you're not quite sure. That's okay. Do you have a current statement you can find for me later?
Yeah.
Okay, great. What I'm going to ask is just to take a look at that statement and kind of see exactly what you have, okay? Because I did tell you that I specialize in retirement income planning. I want to paint the whole picture here. Right now, your IRA, I'm sure, is associated with the stock market, and you've probably lost about 25% of that, okay? And ballpark, what do you have in there?
About 150,000.
150,000. Okay. So there's vehicles you can have your money in that's going to protect it or guard it from market loss. You'll still be able to participate in market gains, but you'll no longer lose money. Is that something you'd be interested in learning about?
Yeah.
Okay. We're here to talk about life insurance. So before I go, I'll take a look at those statements. I'll get them forwarded on to our financial team, and we'll come up with a recommendation for you. And then I'm going to come back out at this same time tomorrow to go over that with you. It's just information to let you know what we can do for you and to see if it makes sense. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about you have any significant money put in checking or savings?
Yeah, I have about 20,000 in checking or savings, and then 5,000.
Okay. That's good. Good for you. That's important. You're a saver. That's important for me to know. Okay. So, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow as well. But let's get back to life insurance. So Liv, no current or existing life insurance in place right now? No. Okay. And let's see here. Katie's going to be your beneficiary. Do you have any questions for me so far? Okay. So what we're going to do now, Liv, is we're going to jump on the computer. I'm going to pull up Americo because I believe that's where you're going to qualify with, but we got to make sure. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to grab your driver's license and your checkbook. Okay, and we're going to get the application completed today. Does that sound fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Throughout, I'm going to let you know how much it's going to cost you and how much of a benefit that's going to fit in your budget. Okay. But I want you to be comfortable with the amount that we decide that is going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does all that make sense? Okay, great. That's my basic final expense in home. I don't know how long we talked for, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I got right to the point. I hit all of the key points. I let her know how much on average, burial costs, how much on average cremation costs. I repeatedly told her that we're going to be submitting the application. I didn't ask her if I'm submitting the application. I didn't ask for permission. I just basically told her that we're going to be putting a benefit in place today. That's what I do in every home. I don't deviate from it at all. What I've found is if I jump all over the place and I go off script, I end up not helping people. I keep it very structured. Get your in-home presentation down to a T and follow it always. What I will tell you is that final expense, the base of that final expense in-home presentation is the same for mortgage protection as well for me. Okay. Obviously, I kind of redirect them towards term at that point. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, you guys can get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of me through Facebook. Like I said, I hope that helped, and thank you for your time.